Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Maverick News Channel. Great to have everybody here. Just checking to make sure we're live, and we are on all channels, so that is looking good, and we have a lot to bring to you tonight. Trump at the funeral for Lindsey Graham, along with Netanyahu, Zelensky, J.D. Vance, the list goes on. And then, of course, we have what really was a high-stakes meeting between Trump, Zelensky, Netanyahu. And when I say high stakes, I mean on many different levels. And while that's going on, we have Iran launching something of a sneak attack on a U.S. base just moments ago. So we'll bring you all of that as well. And now you have to stick around for the end of the broadcast tonight, because we have something unusual and important to share with you. Something I've been working on overnight, and it ties into some stuff that I've really been working on for the past couple of weeks. So kind of a mystery, but it's important. You're not going to want to miss it. And I'll leave it at that for the moment. It does tie into kind of everything that we're talking about tonight in a roundabout way. And I have a new guest to introduce to you as part of that at the end of the program tonight as well. So with that, let's not waste any more time. Let's just run our next little transition here so I can get everything queued up, and we'll begin digging into today's top stories on the other side of this.
Maverick News. The new wave in news. Donate at maverickdonations.com.
So, Sleepy Donnie went to Lindsey Graham's funeral today. And as usual, he said some things that seemed to be rather out of place. This is the president with no filter and apparently not getting enough sleep. Anyway, here's how things looked as they got underway at the funeral service for Lindsey Graham.
2/3 majority, which means you got to
die in the Lord. So then, whether we live or die, we are the Lord's possession.
2/3
and you can see they're highlighting
die in the Lord.
Who is there today. Trump at the front. And when I say he was sleepy, that's an understatement. In fact, it looks like he may have actually fallen asleep today at the funeral of Lindsey Graham. Don't take my word for it. Just look at the video.
Pressed on. There's a lot of times it's easy. It's easier to bow out. It's easier just to go a different way, the path of least resistance. But he stayed the course. He stayed the course even
he's struggling
when it wasn't going to make him popular. He knew, as we've heard today, right? Pressed on. There's a lot of...
And that's not the worst of it. Oh, man. Check out this next clip. You tell me, does this not look like he is sleeping? I mean, he may be still semi-conscious, but no, he's just about totally passed out here,
Call
folks.
for a break.
Look,
He jumped into action.
he's nodding
and
right
immediately
off.
got the nurse. No doubt
Not for
preventing
like a
catastrophe and likely saving
look.
my
His
life.
eyes are completely closed.
However, as much as he did
And
to
a
save
little
my
bit,
life that day,
just a little bit of
he also
consciousness
put it in
there.
danger many a times
He opened his eye.
with his
Yeah.
driving. Call for a break.
No, sorry. The whole Sleepy Joe Biden thing, the crown now goes to him for sleepiest president. It's everywhere he goes now. Now, speaking of inappropriate, this is blowing people away. And I hate to even laugh at all because we're talking about a funeral, but here's Donald Trump revealing, again, Lindsey Graham's personal phone number while speaking at the funeral.
Lindsey and I did not exactly get off to the best of starts, running against each other. Back in 2016, Lindsey said something rather nasty on his flight to becoming the next president of the United States. So naturally, I did something that I shouldn't have done. I shared his personal cell phone number with the millions of people that happened to be watching that particular day as I made a speech, a very important speech. And I remember the number 202-228-0292 if anybody wants to give it a shot. His phone exploded. He said, I had that number for 20 years. His phone totally, I don't know what he did with it, but it exploded. That was the beginning of a friendship in a way. But it was Lindsey who had the last laugh because while I blew up his phone for one day, we became great friends, and Lindsey did not stop calling me for the next 10 years. It was not easy.
Okay. And again, sleeping. I hate to keep bringing it up, but he keeps doing it. So fair game. He's a public figure. He is the president, and he's asleep.
See. Now, he saw what was happening to you and your family as a grave
Nodded off,
injustice.
kind of woke up there.
The world got to see. Now,
So he keeps falling asleep at the funeral. And if he's not falling asleep, he's snacking on Tic Tacs and sharing. Oh, he dropped one. Just, yeah, well, when you're the president, they don't miss anything, right, with the camera. Now, not only was he falling asleep in his seat, it seemed like his mind was wandering, couldn't stay focused, and it seems like he couldn't even remember Lindsey Graham's name while he was speaking at the funeral.
Our nation needs more men and women like that great person sitting, laying, wherever he may be. I think I know where he is, and I think he's up there. I think he's watching us. I'm pretty sure of it. Our nation.
That person over there, sitting or laying over there. What a strange day it has been. And of course, Trump taking all the oxygen out of the room, even at the funeral. And of course, no filter. Here he is speaking again about Lindsey Graham.
It was Lindsey's perhaps finest hour. But no matter how heated things got in Washington, virtually everyone, Republican or Democrat, liked Lindsey. Well, not everybody, but it sounds good. Not everybody. He was a tough cookie, okay? I have to veer from this for a second. He was a tough cookie, Darlene, but he was beautiful. But he was also ready. It was Lindsey's perhaps finest.
Yeah. So, not entirely inappropriate. It's a celebration of life, I guess, right? So you want to remember and celebrate, not just cry. Sharing some humor. But it was a day of serious business as well, because you had Netanyahu and Zelensky both in Washington today. And of course, as a result, there was a high stakes meeting. And it wasn't just like a formal meeting. You could see that there was, networking going on. They were, these guys, they're all shaking hands, meeting face to face. Here's Zelensky meeting just informally, but you can see them talking together here. About exactly what? Not exactly sure, but you can probably guess. We just saw a Ukrainian drone hit an Iranian ship. So these two wars seem to be at a place where they're maybe beginning to overlap. And we've seen both of these guys supporting each other through rhetoric and statements. Israel supporting Ukraine and vice versa. Zelensky supporting what Netanyahu is doing, looking for friends and allies wherever we can get them and support. And of course, everybody looking for drone technology and all of that being refined in Ukraine with Ukrainians. And so the high stakes meetings were exactly that, high stakes. This being what, I guess, the seventh time that Netanyahu has been to the White House during Trump's second tour. This, of course, represents a big political risk for Donald Trump today, because Netanyahu is becoming increasingly unpopular within the United States, and especially, I would say, within the Manosphere. And so, too, is the war with Iran, with a recent poll coming out showing that only about 1/3 of the MAGA faithful think that the money being spent and the arms being expended on this war in the Gulf is actually worth it. So Trump's support appears to be increasingly fragile. And while all that's going on, we've highlighted this as well. But there is this, I think I can see why they're doing it, but this is unexpected. And it's being picked up on, like other media now picking up on it internationally. BBC reporting tonight on something we've been touching on really here for the past 2 or 3 weeks now. Laura Loomer was given access to Zelensky for an exclusive interview, also has been given access to areas where Russian attacks have left, devastation. And this, of course, a right-wing influencer within the Manosphere, very influential and very close to Trump. And this is, I think, a telling and accurate report from the BBC. I'll just show it to you because this, again, explains why this is happening. Loomer, of course, in the beginning and for a long time, extremely critical of the war with Ukraine, of Ukraine in general, repeating the talking points, the pro-Russian narrative, suggesting that It was all because of NATO moving further and further and further to the east. And so Vladimir Putin, totally justified in attacking Ukraine because that's really kind of a preemptive or defensive posture. But what's going on now is Loomer is saying she was, she made a mistake and she was influenced by Russian propaganda, now being kind of given the red carpet treatment in Ukraine so that they can show her what's going on. And now that she has seen it firsthand, her position has changed. And it looks like Ukraine is using Laura Loomer to kind of get to Donald Trump because she has the inside track. She has the ear of the president, as you may, or you're probably aware. She can pretty much waltz into the White House and cozy right up to Donald Trump and even get him to hire and fire people in positions of prominence while Ukraine is rolling out the red carpet for U.S. far-right influencer. That's the headline over at the BBC. It says, Laura Loomer, Trump ally and MAGA influencer, made a visit to Ukraine where she was granted extensive access to the destruction caused by the war. For years, Loomer has been a prominent critic of U.S. assistance to Ukraine, at times labeling the country a Nazi state. However, after visiting Ukraine, she says that she had fallen for some Russian propaganda and offered an apology to President Zelensky. The BBC's Paul Adams is doing this story or series of stories about how Loomer's stance on the war in Ukraine has shifted and how Zelensky is or could use Loomer's influence inside the White House to his advantage. And I think that's exactly what's going on because Trump has been pretty much on Putin's side throughout all of this, which shows right there that the Russian narrative largely has been empty. I mean, I will accept that, Professor Mearsheimer with his view on the NATO expansionism, there's some merit to that. I certainly understand the Russian perspective on it, but at the end of the day, and I even saw some comments in the chat last night about the Aaron Mattei book. I think the title is "Their Blood, Our Bullets," which the book is essentially, it appears to be a regurgitation of these talking points about NATO expansion and why that was the aggravating factor that led to the war. And of course, the Maidan coup, which is part of that narrative suggesting that the United States basically initiated a coup within Ukraine during the Maidan massacre, the Maidan uprising protests. And that's what also led ultimately to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Now, you can, even if you buy all of that, this is undeniable. Russia invaded Ukraine. That's the bottom line. And Ukraine is a sovereign country. So, regardless of anything else, Russia has, in the past, recognized the sovereignty of Ukraine and then came in and violated it. In fact, through the Budapest Memorandum, they promised to defend Ukraine's sovereignty for giving up nuclear weapons. But Putin didn't honor that, and it doesn't matter. None of what Mearsheimer says matters. None of what Aaron Mattei says matters. What matters is Ukraine is a sovereign country, and you have Russia invading a sovereign country. Russia might not like what NATO did. Russia might not like the expansive or the appearance or the even the threat, I guess, or perceived threat of NATO expansionism toward Russia. But even Roger Waters, who is pro-Russian, even he has admitted with Piers Morgan in past interviews that, there was no excuse for Russia to invade Ukraine. And that really is the bottom line. And for the people of Ukraine, that is what they're fighting for. And all these arguments about corruption this and money laundering that, and all the fake stories about Zelensky buying casinos and yachts and, castles and villas with the money that's been coming from the United States, or so they say, which is bunk. In spite of all that, even if all of that were true, it still would not justify Russia invading Ukraine. We'll talk about that more in the nights ahead, because two things can be true at the same time. But at the end of the day, one country shouldn't be invading another country. And what I've seen going on over in Ukraine really in many ways kind of mirrors what has been going on over here with the way that Trump has been ginning up this 51st state rhetoric against Canada. And even with regard to that, I'll put it out there to you in this way. Because Trump has been threatening Canada, like literally threatening Canada, and coming right out and saying that, sorry, this has to be done, direct quote, that he has to come up here and somehow take over Canada, annex it, make it the 51st state. You see, if the logic that is being laid over the Russia-Ukraine conflict holds, then that would justify Canada engaging in some sort of a preemptive strike against the United States and invading, because we're being threatened. Like, we are literally being threatened by the president of the United States with annexation, a takeover, as is Denmark, as is Cuba right now. But of course, there is no justification for Canada to invade the United States or take any kind of preemptive, aggressive military action of any kind against the United States, and nor would we. Because even though Trump is behaving this way, we're still best friends and allies. He doesn't act like it. He's very adversarial. And I think that, I think he just likes the chaos. And he likes to feel like he's always doing a deal. It's strange, and nobody can really kind of get up inside his head to entirely figure out exactly what he's thinking or doing. But there is a larger agenda in play here, and he's the central part of all of this. And Canada really is the crown jewel in the whole thing, which is to divide the world up into spheres of dominance. Maybe I have the clip here before we go to the break. I'm looking for this Kevin O'Leary clip that I had set for you. Maybe I need to find it again. That's okay. I'll tell you what, we'll take the break, come back, and then I'll run the O'Leary clip to reinforce exactly what I've been talking about. Do not go away. Do not touch that dial. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200, because you need to sit tight while I cue up the clips so we can resume after this.
We are the Mavericks. Welcome to the Matrix, baby. Hope you like the view. We are the Mavericks. The world is watching. We are the Mavericks.
Okay, so what do we have going on here? Here's the Kevin O'Leary clip that I was mentioning, where he is talking about Canada and the United States, inevitably, he says, forming some sort of an economic union or completely tariff-free economic powerhouse in order to do battle with China, and I guess in a larger sense, communism. And I said last night, and I've said it many times, you're going to hear more and more and more of that kind of rhetoric, where Trump he's been ramping up the his habit of conflating being a Democrat with being a communist or being anything other than MAGA and being a communist. So they throw this term around, communist, 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 and they are literally going to war with communism, but it isn't really communism they're going to war with. And there is this, the political movement that underpins what even MAGA is and the right-wing political movement that's happening globally right now. That is, it's all focused on fighting liberalism, which is why people say that the MAGA movement and the populist movement globally has become illiberal. It's a war against liberalism, which he has attached the communist label to because that is easier to sell to people as something that is pejorative, negative, that has a negative connotation to it. That's easier to get people upset with, right? Because so many decades of anti-communist narrative has been pumped into people's brains in the United States and in Canada that it's a trigger word for people. So if he points at you and says you're a communist, that's far worse than being called even a liberal. And being called a liberal right now in that sphere is like having the plague. That's just a trigger word. And if you've been labeled a liberal, nobody's going to listen to you anymore, see? If you're labeled a communist, well, then you're even subhuman, I would say at this point. O'Leary here really highlighting what I've been saying, which is that MAGA, Trump, the United States, they're at war with communism, and he thinks that inevitably Canada and the United States will join forces to do battle with China. And there is no question that on the U.S. side, there is extreme concern about China because China does want to become the world's biggest economy. Don't just listen to me. This is Kevin O'Leary essentially confirming what I've been telling you for I don't know how long now, that there is this global movement to carve the world up into three spheres of political dominance.
Well, I have some very good news for Canadians. You should consider your passport a stock certificate for the future because there is no country with wealth like this one. And here's what's going to happen in the next 20 years. I can practically guarantee this is going to happen. This tiff, this dispute with our largest neighbor to the south is going to disappear out of economic necessity. We will somehow combine these two economies, not with sovereign designation. Canadians will remain Canadians, Americans will remain Americans. There will be an EU passport you can pursue eventually. We will diminish and resolve and eliminate all tariffs of all commodities across that border to create an economy that can spend 5% of its GDP defending itself against China. Because they have a plan. They're going to come over and they want to become the #1 economy on earth. We have to remain that with our version of democracy and freedom of speech and the things that Canadians and Americans believe in and have for hundreds of years. We too, it may not be under Carney and Trump may not be under him, but I guarantee you, combining the two economies to a common currency, a common EU type passport, and keeping sovereignty is the solution. And you will see it in your lifetime. I guarantee that's going to happen 100% because it has to. Otherwise, the Chinese are going to be telling you what to have for breakfast in 20 years.
So that's what he's saying. And you might not be, connecting the dots, but that's exactly connected to what I've been saying, carving the world up into spheres of dominance. The United States dominating this sphere, and by integrating the economies, I think that ultimately what you're going to be looking at is the United States, Trump, whoever is ultimately in power when all of this comes to pass, they're looking at putting not just a sympathetic or American-friendly government in place, conservative-friendly government in place in Canada. They want something they can control in Canada. And while all of that is going on, Trump is pretending that he doesn't care about Canada, doesn't care about Kuzma or, USMCA, the trade deal, free trade between the countries. He says he's not even interested in renewing the USMCA trade deal, the deal that he personally signed off on during his first go around as president, calling it the best trade deal ever, replacing the worst trade deal ever that he said was the North American Free Trade Agreement. And now he's just playing this game. And, well, here's what he said on Fox News. I believe it was today.
We have the hottest car business. We're right now building more car plants that at any time in our history, Toyota just left Mexico. They're building, they just announced, they're building a $12 billion worth of plants in the United States, all because they want to avoid tariffs. They have no tariffs if they build their product here.
Yeah. So the USMCA, are you looking to update that?
I don't care. I mean, I don't really want to. I'd rather be independent. Here's the thing. Mexico and Canada need us. We don't need them. The deal is important for them. It's not important for us.
Okay. He so doesn't want us, doesn't care about us. We're so not important to him that he wants to annex us. We're so not important to him, and we don't have anything that the United States needs, that even as he imposed these 50% tariffs and the additional 10% tariffs because of forced labor concerns, that he has carve-outs and exemptions on the tariffs for certain kinds of products, including, energy, fertilizers, and a number of other items as well that they really do need from Canada. They really do need us as much as we need them. Well, maybe not as much, but they need us. And if we were not here, they would be paying. Well, it just goes without saying. He's also lying about the cars. It's just a demonstrable, observable fact, and you can just look at the numbers. And if you go in and really dig into the numbers and the truth behind the matter and do the research, you'll find that his claim that they're building more new car plants in the United States now than ever in history is just a blatant lie. It is true that Toyota is involved in that plant in Texas. That is true. But even there, the way that he's conveying the information is not entirely accurate, because yes, some jobs are coming from Mexico, but there are also some jobs coming from another U.S. plant to that Texas facility, as I understand it. And some of those jobs will be there temporarily and then moving back to another plant. So there's employees shifting around and some different things happening with that particular Toyota plant. But that's the plant that they keep highlighting. And they keep highlighting that plant because they don't have a record number of plants being built right now. That is not true. And in fact, this is something he really doesn't want you to know. If you go and find the stats, you will find that the plants that are being constructed right now, a lot of them are actually plants that are being not really totally constructed from brand new greenfield buildups. They're existing plants being retooled. And for what? EVs. Because you're still getting holdovers or residual investment activity from even the Biden era, where some of these factories are still going through retooling operations. One of those factories, in fact, is the Rivian plant, which is a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility in Normal, Illinois. And I've got a video here queued up. I'm going to just run a little bit of it for you to show you how incredibly automated these factories are. And it will also, I think, give you an indication of how more automated they're going to be in the future as AI comes online. Now, they do have people working on the shop floor here, but you'll see that it's they don't have nearly the number of people working in these assembly facilities as they used to. In addition to that, I can tell you that Rivian is bleeding cash. All the car companies are facing financial hardships right now. And do you know why? It's because of the chaos, the instability, because, for a few years, they're all being told they have to move toward electrification and retooling their plants and investing in battery technology and assembly facilities that are designed for being retooled to produce electric cars, which requires, an entirely different setup. And then having Trump come back in and say, no, put the brakes on all that. I'm back. And now we're going to go back after internal combustion engines. And they don't know whether they don't know whether they're coming or going in the auto industry. So there's complete instability. And the auto companies have lost billions and billions and billions of dollars, moving from ICE engines to electric powered development to now going back to ICE engines, and who knows what's coming in a couple of years when Trump is probably going to be gone, very likely, unless he runs again. And he wants to, make no mistake about that. But regardless of that, let's go take a look at what's going on in this plant. Here's the CEO of the company taking us on a little video tour.
Was being converted from a parking lot into what you see today. And what's cool about this is because the vans are so large, the robots themselves are enormous. Look at this, these look almost like dinosaurs in their size. They're picking up the full body side as it's being built.
Not a lot of people in the
Our paint shop is a brand new state-of-the-art facility. And in the last 18 months, with this being a bare shell to being a paint shop now painting the R1T, the R1S, commercial vans, and also electrostatically coating our skateboards and our battery enclosure, this facility has seen a tremendous amount of progress and is now operating as a high-volume shop. The paint system that we use actually allows us to change colors without any need to purge the system. It's a canister-based process, incredibly efficient, really minimizes any waste. So you can see all the different colors, R1T, R1S, and on the far side, EDV 500, the EDV 700. It's like a big vending machine for painted vehicles. Once the body is selected, it's then assigned a whole build combination and actually connects with the customer. And from that point forward, its future destiny is determined.
Okay, that's enough. Gives you a little taste. Rivian, those are electric vehicles, and they're bleeding cash. I'll tell you right now, I don't think they're going to convert to gasoline-powered engines. They've just expanded. They're still investing money. They're hemorrhaging cash. GM also not doing very well, even though Trump, I think, has been making false statements about GM, saying they've had their best year ever and, they're so profitable. No, the car companies, they're under pressure. And it's because it's gas on this 1 minute, then brake, then gas going the opposite direction, put it in reverse, slam it into drive. No, they don't know what the hell's going on. How are you supposed to invest in an environment like that? He's creating chaos while telling everybody that he's saving the industry. Not really entirely true. Grains of truth and not the bed of roses that he would like you to believe. Now, while he's doing all that, of course, he's making waves across the border and attacking Canada. And, the media took the bait again today. I'm talking about it too. It's hard not to take the bait when he says that, oh, I don't even care. We don't need a deal with Canada or Mexico. They need us. We don't need them. I don't even really want to do a deal. So, of course, if the deal isn't done, that would affect the livelihoods of a lot of Canadians, every Canadian in one way or another. So, of course, it's a concern for people. I think it's performative. It's rhetoric. It's hyperbole. He needs us more than he lets on. It's a negotiating tactic. And here's CTV taking the bait, hook, line, and sinker, just as we are here right now, I guess, too, because we're still talking about it. But I'll run a little bit of this clip to give you a taste of what they're saying over on CTV. And it's much the same rhetoric over on CBC and Global.
President Trump was on Fox News earlier this morning, once again throwing cold water on updating the current North American Free Trade Agreement. Here's what he said.
I don't really want to. I'd rather be independent. Here's the thing. Mexico and Canada need us. We don't need them. The deal is important for them. It's not important for us.
All right, let's bring in CTV's U.S. political analyst Eric Ham now with more. Eric, let's begin there and also remind our viewers that just a few years ago, President Trump called this the greatest deal ever. Now, here he is once again casting doubt on the future of these negotiations. What do you make of his comments this morning? This, as our key minister, Dominic LeBlanc, is heading to D.C. for talks.
President Donald Trump has made clear since coming back into office that he wanted a different relationship both with Mexico and Canada. And what we're seeing from Donald Trump today is no different than what we've been hearing since coming back into office. And the president, even though this is an agreement that he negotiated, he orchestrated, and of course he highlighted, what we're seeing right now is President Donald Trump is attempting to upend this agreement, which would certainly be cataclysmic for the entire region. We've got to remember the U.S.-Canadian economy has been integrated for more than 60 years right now. And while it will certainly cause tremendous damage and harm to the Canadian economy, it will cause equally as much damage to the United States as well. In fact, we know that Jamison Grid just recently said that with these new tariffs under Section 301 that are going into effect, they don't actually uplift the U.S. economy at all. And so what we're seeing here is President Donald Trump seems to be on a personal diatribe going after America's allies, which is what we have been seeing since he came back into office.
Okay.
Yeah, enough of that. It's seems nonsensical, but there is some method to his madness, and it is madness because it doesn't need to be going on, but he has his own agenda, and it's not just economic. It's largely political, and he's using the economy as a political tool, a sledgehammer to get kind of what he wants. David Eby, BC Premier tonight, accusing BC, British Columbia, provincial conservatives, his opponents, of undermining his government's response to U.S. tariffs. They're putting pressure on Eby through social media posts, media appearances, public statements, saying that the liquor ban out there on U.S. liquor, taking U.S. liquor off government-controlled store shelves, is ill-advised, that they would like the provincial government to put the U.S. booze back on the shelves as a gesture of goodwill, and Eby is having none of that. He says that it's the only leverage tool that really seems to be having any impact and getting attention on the U.S. side.
While our forest families are under direct attack by the president, who has imposed draconian tariffs on our wood products in order to apparently facilitate imports to the United States from Russia and Europe instead of from Canada, we will never put U.S. alcohol back on the shelves. And I think that approach for British Columbia is the right approach. I understand the Conservatives had their quiet meeting with the ambassador of the United States and have come out and said that we should get rid of the only leverage that appears to be catching the attention of the president by putting U.S. alcohol back on the shelves. I couldn't disagree more. I think that would sell out forest families for nothing. It is a disgraceful approach for British Columbia. And I don't understand the logic of it, except through the lens of the culture war that the Conservatives seem totally committed to over all other things.
I have to say he's on the money, because it is about the culture war, and the Conservatives in this country who are taking that tack don't care about anything as much as they care about that. And it does seem strange to me, because they will even give up the country as they continue to pursue and support that ideological commitment. It's the strangest thing there's some sort of a weird psychological thing going on, and I'm still trying to figure it out. Maybe when we get to the end of the program, we'll have a little more insight into that. Stay with me.
Maverick News. Expose lies and tell truth. The world is watching.
Speaking of the culture war, I mean, that extends back into the pandemic times, the times that came after the before times that are now kind of in the rearview mirror, but maybe not, because it feels like everything is beginning to unravel again, just as it did during Trump 1.0. Trump now, today, feuding again with Anthony Fauci. It just doesn't go away. Why is this happening? Well, it's because I guess Rand Paul released a huge number of documents involving Fauci. And this ahead of tomorrow's, well, Fauci is supposed to testify tomorrow, I guess. And Rand Paul has released more than 1,000 pages of Fauci's private journal notes. Now, these go back to 2020, 2021, a few of them later. And in these, Fauci privately criticized then President Trump in Trump 1.0 in the strongest terms, using like words like rambling. He described him as crazy, desperate, bumbling, incompetent, a true embarrassment, totally nuts, a truly an obnoxious adolescent, and an idiot. Fauci's words. Entries in these journal pages also cover frustrations about Trump's messaging, about downplaying the virus at one point, and then focusing on ratings and publicity because of the way he wants to handle the PR end of it, and pressure to reopen for political and re-election reasons. So these are what Trump is talking about behind the scenes, and Fauci then revealing all this, not concerned about people's health as the paramount concern. He's more concerned with ratings, re-election, political reasons, why he wants to take the steps that he's going to take, putting all of that ahead of your health, my health. And I'll say this too, Trump, through all of this, confusing people and doing what he does really best, by saying two things at the same time. And people end up hearing kind of the one side of it that they want to hear. And he's doing it again, even now, where he is talking again on Fox in this interview ahead of Fauci's testimony tomorrow, trying to get out ahead of it on Fox in the morning, saying that if he had taken Fauci's advice, a lot more people would have died.
Well, yeah, because he wanted to close everything down, and I didn't.
Absolutely. But given what you know now...
Had I taken his advice, the whole country would have been closed down, and much of the country was open because I didn't close it down. What I did do, though, is with Operation Warp Speed, is we got things done that nobody's ever seen in terms of all of the gear necessary. And we learned that the cupboards were bare. You know, when I took over, we had none of this. We didn't have the ventilators.
I know.
We didn't have anything. We ended up becoming the #1 ventilator producer, and we were supplying ventilators to other countries by the time we we got going, and we did a great job. No, but I was not a believer because he said everybody has to wear a mask. Then he said don't wear a mask. You remember it was a whole thing. Wear them, don't wear them. I said, what are you doing? He started off saying don't wear them. Then he said wear them. Then he said don't wear them. And I lost a lot of respect for him during the period of time. Right. But
Except, if you really listen to what Trump says, even now, he blames Fauci for the problems, but then also says he didn't take his advice. You can't have it both ways. But people are hearing what they want to hear in what he is saying. Do you understand what I'm telling you? And he does this repeatedly over and over and over again so that he can blame other people and use them as scapegoats. When he's actually the guy in charge, he's the guy who makes the decisions. And why did he not take responsibility and implement a federal response nationally to the pandemic? Because he downloaded the responsibility to the states so that they would make the decisions. And where it suited him, he took credit. And where it didn't suit him, he laid blame. When he was really, in that particular case, outsourcing the responsibility, saying, oh, it's up to them, when he still had the power to do whatever he wanted. He could have prevented all the lockdowns if he wanted to, but he didn't. So there were lockdowns in a lot of places in the States, and in other places there weren't. And then you had all this hodgepodge of different responses across the country, which is in itself not really good public health policy. It's all political at that point, and it became incredibly political and incredibly divisive. The larger point is that he is now again throwing Fauci under the bus, saying that it's all his fault, while at the same time saying he didn't take Fauci's advice. So if he didn't take Fauci's advice, then any decisions that were made were his and his alone, and would have gone in. And he did the opposite then of what Fauci wanted him to do. And regardless, the decision was then his because he didn't take Fauci's advice. So how can you blame Fauci for anything? And he kept Fauci around. Why? Because he needed somebody to blame, somebody to throw under the bus when the going got rough and things ran off the rails. It's his fault. When it was all Donald Trump all the time, it was always his decision. He's the guy with the real power, and you can't have it both ways. And so whatever is happening, he's lying either way because he's not telling us the truth. Either he took Fauci's advice, which was bad advice, in which case you could say then that this doctor gave me bad advice, and I didn't fire him, even though he gave me bad advice because I didn't realize until later. But he's saying he didn't take Fauci's advice. So you can't then blame Fauci. And he's done this repeatedly all the way along from the beginning. And then trying to take credit for the ventilators, which then ultimately we found out actually weren't helping people at all. And in many cases, we're making it worse. If you remember the history behind all of this. And then he's very careful now about how he frames or how he talks about his response and talking about the gear. You notice he doesn't talk a lot about the masks because the masks really pissed people off. A lot of people didn't like to wear the masks, especially people in his MAGA base. So he doesn't really highlight that, but he talks about Operation Warp Speed and how everything he did was a great response. And I have to say that, yeah, it seemed like at the time he was expediting production of all of these things that appeared to be maybe necessary at the time, which highlights again, he had all the power. He was able to, with the stroke of a pen, do an end run around a lot of regulations and implement Operation Warp Speed. getting rid of safety regulations, testing, even for vaccines. No, don't have to do any of those tests anymore. Just Operation Warp Speed, get this vaccine approved, get it out there and get it into people's arms. He had the power to do it, and he did it. But then he turns around and says, no, it's his fault. His fault is China's fault. China. He would point the finger at all the different politicians and not accepting responsibility for really any of it, but trying to take all the claim all the accolades for anything that was perceived to be a win. No, it's just in hindsight, and hindsight is 2020. It's becoming painfully obvious that this guy just always finds somebody to blame for his own shortcomings. And that's exactly what's going on now with Fauci. Now, he'll testify tomorrow. We'll hear more in whatever comes out of that. And I'll be very interested to see what Fauci has to say. But this all fits a long pattern of tension that began between, in Trump's first term over COVID policy disagreements. The different kinds of controversial treatments, drugs, the testing, the messaging, the overall approach. And I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, the buck stops at the president's desk. And when convenient, he just throws people under the bus. You look behind him at all the casualties, all the people whose careers and even lives he has destroyed in order to save his own bacon. It's awful. He's just a one-man human wrecking machine, this guy. That's not TDS. That's just observably true.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
Okay. Our special segment is just about ready to rock and roll here. So stay with me. I'm going to take a little break while I get some stuff set up. We've got a guest waiting in the wings and another somebody new to introduce you to. Here on the program, and that's coming up right after this. Don't go away.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. blah 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 blah
blah blah blah blah blah blah blah blah blah blah blah blah blah.
Maverick News. No blah, blah, blah.
All right. So before we get to our special segment, just a little bit of news to catch up on, especially with regard to situation in the Gulf. Saudi Arabia is saying it shot down more drones. Well, they're claiming that. The Houthis claim to have turned back another tanker tonight. Saudi Arabia saying that it shot down these drones fired by Iran-backed militias in Iraq for a second day. And the Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen claiming they've forced a Saudi oil tanker to turn around as part of their own kind of blockade. And the attacks just underscore this lingering tension, despite this period of calm that appears to have set in between the United States and Iran, which is, I guess, increasing concern that the United States might actually be experiencing some, well, their munitions are depleting. And that's based on a New York Times report. And of course, now the pause in the attacks by the United States against Iran. Both sides now, I guess, kind of entering a ceasefire of sorts, but not because they've agreed to it, but because of maybe necessity, or maybe because the United States has stopped shooting. Anyway, the Saudi Defense Ministry says that air defenses intercepted and destroyed several drones that had attempted to target petroleum facilities in the nation's eastern region. And then also tonight, U.S. CENTCOM reporting that Iran basically tried to launch something of a sneak attack on a U.S. base. Here, I'll show you tonight. Let's go to the CENTCOM post. This happening just a little before 6 p.m. Yeah, there it is there. U.S. Central Command. At 5:45 Eastern Time today, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps forces launched multiple ballistic missiles from Iran in an attempted surprise attack on U.S. forces. Based in the Middle East, all Iranian missiles were successfully intercepted. U.S. forces remain vigilant and at a high state of readiness. Not sure what kind of response we're going to get from the U.S., if anything, at this point. I think there are legitimate concerns based on legitimate reports from the New York Times that there are issues surrounding U.S. stockpiles of especially things like Patriot missiles. And tonight we have, I think we have some video. Yes, indeed we do. Video of these interceptions that took place this evening. These Iranian missiles launched to attack this American base in Jordan, and the missiles were intercepted. Here's what it looked like. No audio, but you can see still enough in the stockpile to take those out of commission and prevent damage on the U.S. base there. But this conflict far from over. Now going into, what, 5 months. So it lingers, and some people concerned that this might indeed be turning into a forever war, which is exactly what Trump promised would not happen. Anyway, that's as far as it's gone so far. No other info coming from U.S. CENTCOM tonight on another attack. And usually, we went through 14 nights. 13? 14. I think it was 13 nights in a row. I don't think they did it the 14th. I can't remember too many nights in a row. yeah, we've had a pause now for 2 or 3 nights, and they had been launching new attacks on Iran every night at 7 p.m., pretty much sharp, or just before, and not happening so far tonight. You know what is still in play is the bomb that President Trump, well, he bombed at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, but it seems like maybe he did Dylan Mulvaney a favor by mentioning Dylan Mulvaney's name like 4 times during his disastrous speech at the WHCA dinner. Mulvaney now back in the spotlight as a result of all of that. Remember, he said that he thought the CNN reporter, Caitlin, got that she maybe got a new sponsorship, but then he was sorry to inform her that it was Dylan Mulvaney on the Bud Light can and not her. Well, Dylan Mulvaney is saying, thank you very much, President Trump, because you are helping me exercise and enjoy my freedom. This is, I think, unexpected and will probably make some heads out there blow up.
Hi, is this a good time? Well, it's definitely an interesting time because my name is Dylan Mulvaney and the President of the United States said my name in his speech 4 times on Friday night.
And I thought Caitlin had really made it big with a major new sponsorship, but then I informed her that it wasn't her on the Bud Light can, it was Dylan Mulvaney. Dylan Mulvaney, I wouldn't want to hire Dylan anytime soon. Dylan Mulvaney.
Now, the president also brought up a video I did over 3 years ago. And mind you, I've been kind of flying under the radar, keeping up a pretty low profile, just like doing my little musicals, singing, dancing. And yet I am still his topic of conversation all these years later. And it seems to me that I might be like the one that got away for these men. Like I am permanently burned into their retinas. I am microchipped into their minds. And when I first heard that the president put me on his diss track, I was like, well, that's not good. Then a few weeks ago, I would have probably been more upset about this. But luckily, I was ghosted last month by a hookup who I really liked. And what I realized from that experience was that I shouldn't want to be with someone who doesn't really want to be with me. So maybe I shouldn't want to be professionally supported by an administration that doesn't personally support me or so many others in this country. Food for thought. In fact, maybe being publicly mocked and criticized by this administration is actually like the greatest compliment of all, because it puts me in the company of some of like the most brilliant, empathetic people in our world today. But I do still wonder, like, why is it so important to them that I don't find success? Like, what is it that I have that they don't? Oh my God, freedom. I am free in a way that they will never have the privilege to experience, and they want to use their power to take away my freedom. But what they don't understand is that my freedom has like 0 contingency on what they can provide for me, because my freedom is fully dependent on the moment that I acknowledged my real authentic self in every day since.
Wow. Are their heads blowing up? I'm gonna look in the chat. Anybody comment? I don't know. Just wow. There you go. See, there's no such thing as bad publicity, right? And when Trump lashes out like that, he's just restarted Dylan Mulvaney's career. Mentioned him, whatever, 4 times, and there's Dylan Mulvaney saying that I don't care about Trump. I'm me. I'm doing my own thing. I have freedom. That's powerful stuff. I have to say. I gotta say, that's very powerful, man. What else do I have? Anything? Am I missing anything here tonight before we get into our whole thing? Oh, this will trigger people. This is Sean Strickland, the fighter, who I think the guy's a dick myself, but and this. I did not expect this. Here he is over on FactBus. I don't know what this is where it's posted, but I don't know what the podcast is that he's featured on here, but he's saying that basically he now understands why Hitler happened, and that's because he's been to MAGA rallies. And I'm like, what the hell? Because this is like one of the leaders of the movement. This is like a hero among MAGA people because of his what did he, a UFC fighter, and some of the awful things that he said, and even some of the people within the UFC circles, they're like, oh, that guy's too toxic even for me, man. I can't take it. But here he is criticizing MAGA for being too extreme.
And like have you been to a Trump rally?
No.
Oh, dude, it's fucking nuts.
No.
So like when you're at a Trump rally, you're like, oh, I could definitely see how Hitler happened. Like I'm not fucking joking to you, dude. When you go to a Trump rally, it makes you question the sanity of everybody. Like Trump's up there talking about like, we're going to throw people in jail for burning the flag. And I'm like, dude, you shouldn't do it. But it's like, there is a fucking constitution. I'm looking at Vivek, and Vivek is just like fucking like rubbing his head. And he gets out and leaves the Trump rally. And I'm like, fuck. And everybody else is just fucking full send. Yeah, fuck him, throw him in jail. Like if Trump said, go grab a gun and go do anything, they would fucking do it. They would fucking do it.
I know, it's a cult. It's and that's another good. That's one of the things about Christianity. You're not supposed to put. You don't put your faith in man. They will.
That's also what
That's also fucking time.
And like when have you been to a Trump rally?
What I've been saying. I don't know what else to tell you, man. Here, I'm gonna just do this to make things better. Let's bring in Ian. Are you there, Ian? Oh, no,
Am I?
I can't see you. What happened? Going to take you off, put you back on. You were there and now you're black. You've gone all black. No video.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. It's like I'm talking to Spock's brain, though, in the cyberverse, or your brain in the cyber. Where are you? You're stuck in a black hole. What happened to your video?
I don't know. Supposed to be functioning. For some reason, it's not.
As soon as I clicked on you, you went black. I'm going to take you off. I'm going to take a quick break. You fix your camera if you can. I'm going to do this. We'll come back, and we're going to get into our special segment. I've got something real special to share with everybody tonight. So do not go away. We shall return.
Maverick News. The new wave in news. Donate at maverickdonations.com.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, never mind. We'll just do it this way. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. It's called a phone. You dial. Well, maybe he's there. Okay, never mind. Don't pick up your phone. I was going to do it with the phone. But you're there. Better speak so now you're sideways.
Where am I? There you go.
Okay, there you go. Okay. Technology sucks.
Big time. Am I freezing?
Yeah, you're out of sync. Must be an internet thing. I don't know. In any event, let's just try and muscle our way through this. What is that behind you? Is that a Quebec flag?
It is. It is my Quebec flag. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if this is going to work because it's so jittery and everything. I'm just not sure. Yeah, I'm just going to.
You prefer me to call instead?
Let's have you call.
All right, we'll do that.
This is silly. This is no good. Okay. We'll do it this way. Okay. And here we go. I'm going to get the phone system up and running here so that Ian can just call in. There we go. And let me make sure that he has the number, which is the same number that he calls in every time on. I do apologize for the problems, but we will get him, and then we'll get this thing done. And it's gonna be good. You're gonna like it, I think. And oops, I sent it to the wrong thing. So now I got to send it over to the other thing because this is all going wrong. But that's okay. And there we go. And now he'll have the phone number. Dragon Ian. All right. No, Ian, just phone the phone number to call the phone system. Okay. I just emailed you the number again. It's like you always do. There we go. And I'm going to go to another transition here while we get Ian on the line. Too much trouble. Here we go. In fact, I'll put the phone number on the screen. Okay, Mavericks, it's call-in time. Join the conversation. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Exercise your right to free speech. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Maverick News. Call now. The world is watching and listening to you. Okay. Here we go. I think we got him. Is he there? There we go. Hello.
Hello.
All right, we finally got you. You're on the screen. And you're
good.
On. Okay.
Technology sucks.
Yes. All right. Well, welcome back, Ian. Dragon.
Thank you.
Rising Dragon. So, I wanted, first of all, before I get into introducing this new person thing, whatever, there was some stuff going on in the chat the other night, a couple of nights ago. I wanted to ask you about it. This was something to do with me being ladies' men. What the hell was that about?
Yeah. If I do believe and remember well, it's because at some point in time you were running a clip of a guy that I don't remember who exactly, but he isn't well looking compared to you. And basically, we were making jokes about that.
Are we talking about clavicular?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
We were also having a conversation about that. And actually, and
the Tate brothers.
Yeah, that's true. Okay,
Right.
now it's coming back. So yeah, under that, with the Tate brothers, we were basically going on the sides of things where, basically they're probably ladies men, but they're not proper ladies men, if you catch my drift.
Yeah,
And
they're as I said, the way they dress, you look at Andrew Tate, he's got his shirt unbuttoned all the way down to his navel so you can see his chest, and he wears these capri pants where the bottoms show off like the lower part of his leg and his ankles. He doesn't wear socks. He's got these open slip-on shoes, and I'm like, this guy's gay. He's probably bisexual, and he's out there trying to dominate the manosphere in this new world of looks maxing and body sculpting and trying to portray himself as this really masculine man's man in the new Trump world of going back to an unapologetic masculine past, right, and rekindling that masculinity, bringing all that real man, macho man, yeah. But I said, no, he's macho, but he's macho man like YMCA gay macho type of thing. And I've always found that there's a real irony there, because you have Trump talking about traditional values, Christian values, and then what does he play at these rallies? He plays the Village People and YMCA, which is a gay anthem. It just, for me, highlights the hypocrisy behind the entire MAGA movement, where they pretend to be this, or they say they're that, or they put a facade up about being, strongly heterosexual and against gay people. And you've got this strong undercurrent of people who are, anti-gay, anti-LGBTQ plus, blah, blah, blah. And at the same time, they're playing a gay anthem. They have the Village People perform at rallies. You've got Andrew Tate dressing the way that he does. Clearly, when he talks about going back to jail and wanting to go back to jail, there's a video of him out there saying that. I think he wants to go back to jail because he wants to be somebody's girlfriend in the cell. I mean, it's ridiculous. And that's why I said, he doesn't wear socks. I said, I always wear socks. Real men wear socks, and not fancy socks like Justin Trudeau. I just wear plain colored socks because I'm a guy. Anyway, so real men wear plain colored socks.
Rarely, mostly my socks are probably black or white, maybe gray, because depends on the colors, but it's plain. And rarely with a little bend somewhere. So there's no much color in there. There's no figurine. There's no image on that. It's just plain socks.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you want to talk about socks, I have a system. You know what my system for socks is? Buy the same socks all the time. The same color, same type. That way, you never have to match your socks. It's highly...
That's it.
Just black socks, And then you don't have to like, oh, I've got a missing sock, a mismatched sock. So I'm trying to purge my drawers of socks that are odd. So like just so that I just have all uniform socks, just black socks. And then I don't have to worry about anything. I just, any two will always match. Problem solved.
That's true. My dad was doing the same thing. And every socks that was having a hole in there, either he could use a bulb to sew it back or rip it off, find another socks with a little hole in there, rip the hole in there, put that in the garbage, and you don't have like unpaired number of socks. So you're good to go.
And so, of course, there was the Tate thing, and then we were talking about clavicular, right? This young guy who really, I think, is setting a bad example for young people with his lifestyle of, lots of sex, a lot of drugs, a lot of body maxing, body sculpting, looks maxing, cosmetic surgery, face sculpting by bone crushing, and all this crazy, crazy stuff.
New drug, sex, and rock and roll of our era.
Yeah.
But I think that you can replace rock and roll by multimedia.
Yeah. Well, it's clearly all a facade. It is like, and then I noticed, I think it was, well, it doesn't matter who, but I saw somebody post in there that, the Tate brothers and clavicular, they're just a distraction. They're not political. And I would argue that that's not true. I think they're highly, highly political because, if you look at, there's the saying, right? I think it was the founder of Breitbart who said that politics is downstream from culture. And so you see that there is this ongoing war or skirmish within the culture war to control media and therefore control culture. You still have I think largely the progressives who control Hollywood, even though you've got even Chinese investment in Hollywood now. But in the social media sphere, that is more tilting toward the right side of the political spectrum right now. And that's why you're getting figures, personalities, celebrities like the Tate brothers, like Clavicular. These are figures who are, yes, you could argue they're a distraction, but they are really the stars of the social media reality program.
The equivalent of Pamela Anderson back in the 90s or Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, I mean, you pick your era, you always have your stars who are put out there to influence people and set the tone or set the pace and the direction of the culture. And then the culture, of course, it dictates, in the view of some, the politics of the time, right? So if you control the culture, you also control the politics because you're controlling the minds of the people and the attitudes and the styles and the even the policies ultimately that come about through politics, because you're influencing it from the beginning, at the head of the stream, and it runs downstream until you get to the final destination. Hopefully not going over a waterfall where everybody dies. But yeah,
true.
That's
if
what's
you
going
look
on.
If you look at what was happening back then in the 90s or even 20 years, 30 years ago, 40 years maybe, you had, say, actors and comedian and whatnot who were sometimes having an opinion on what was going on in the politics, depending sometimes some event or whatnot. Sean Connery, I know he was pretty vocal. Some of the Affleck brothers.
Yeah, we're going, down this road, but I want to pull this back a little bit, back into the chat from a couple of nights ago, and what was going on with this. Again, what was it that was being said in there about me being a ladies' man? What the hell was that? I did go in and I did look afterward, and I saw some of it, but I think some of the comments had been deleted by the time I got to look after the program. So you were in there. I saw you commented. tell me what was said, because I had some people messaging me about this afterward, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
Well, basically, it was a kind of joke about the fact that you're more of a ladies' man than these guys, because one, you're a gentleman. You're always been the kind of guy who's, I would say, a family kind of guy.
Okay.
From what we know, so
that makes me a ladies' man.
Well, of course.
That doesn't make any sense.
How did you get your wife?
Yeah.
I mean, you were a gentleman to her, and that's how you got her.
That's
right?
true. That's true. That is true. Yeah, that's true. I always say she trapped me. And I think that's largely the way it works, actually.
Oh, it is.
In fact, I'm going to show you the face of a guy who I'm going to show you what a guy's face looks like as he is about to get married. Watch, look at this. You'll see. You'll see. Here we go. This is what happens when you're about to get married. I don't know if you can see that, Ian, but do you know what that's from? That's from the movie The Fly. I think it was 1958 with Vincent Price. And this is the scientist who went through the transporter device and ended up in a spider's web with his head on a fly's body. And his head's a little tiny, and he's in the spider's web, and he's sitting in there, and the spider's coming to eat him, and he's like, help me, help me. It's just, when I saw that when I was a kid, it just creeped me out. It scarred my brain for life when I saw that. It was funny but now looking back at it, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much what it looks like when you're about to get married, because you get trapped. Agreed or no?
Well.
Am I off?
We're living in a trap today.
Oh man, alive! I'm telling you. So, I did see in the chat. I think it was Lori who posted something in there. She said, "Yeah, Rick is very popular with the ladies." And I was like, "What? I'm popular with the ladies? What the hell are you talking about?" I think it was because there was somebody said something about most of the people in the chat are women. And I hadn't really thought of it, but I think that's kind of true.
Back.
Yeah.
That's right. It come back now. Somebody said that on the chat. That was, I think, where it came from. Somebody in the chat said that most of the people in the chat were women. And we are probably like 2 or 3 guys, including me. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where I said that's probably because Rick is a ladies' man, so that's why we have more women into the chat or as viewers probably. Okay. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't think so, man. I think that this is the thing. As people were messaging me about this, I'm thinking, no, I don't think so. I think Ian's really the real ladies' man, because hey, man, you are single. I hate this phrase, but you are single and ready to mingle, baby. That's what I'm thinking. And
I was thinking about the same thing with the lady that you were showing earlier, just right before I came on. Actually,
Dylan Mulvaney. Yeah. Yeah.
She's crazy, beautiful, and smart.
I know.
I'm sorry to say, but those are 2 things that trap me forever.
Yeah. Oh, I had an experience on the weekend. I was at an event, and I just happened to speak to someone who was sitting on a bench. I don't know the person, right? And so this gentleman had a conversation, started the conversation, and turns out he's a female impersonator. But and so a really friendly person, very likable. I like the guy. And he said to me something, though, that really, really stuck in my brain because of things that have been said in recent weeks to me on various levels. He said, referring to the LGBTQ community, and he showed me pictures of him as a female impersonator over the years. And these photos that he pulled out of his wallet were very old because he was a senior, right? I don't think he does much of it anymore. But, you know, he said, these are his words. He said, "We're not aliens." And that word alien really stuck with me for a bunch of reasons. And I thought, wow. Anyway, it alarmed me a little bit when he said that, just because it highlighted for me the way some of the narrative out there, maybe unintentionally. And I don't know if this is really connected, but, you know, talk about aliens and disclosure and other dimensions and so on. And here's this gentleman standing there right beside me, a human being who's telling me that obviously he feels like, or he believes, or he has experienced being sort of marginalized as an alien, not as a human being. And it was the use of that word alien that really just, it was like it drove an ice pick through my heart.
Because of the LGBTQ label, if I can put it this way.
Because of the way that alien word is being thrown around so much, and it makes me wonder if that word is being used by some people as a code word to a group of people, to marginalize, to point fingers of blame, to dehumanize a group of people, LGBTQ plus people. And whether you like them or not, they're human beings, right? We're all human beings. We all have agency and rights, and they're people, right? And so and I see it even within the MAGA sphere right now, even with Trump. You know, he said during the address just yesterday, not the White House dinner, White House Correspondents' Dinner, I think was he in Georgia, wherever he was speaking yesterday, and he referred to people on the streets in Democrat City as not being clean. Well, you know what that means. He's talking basically about visible minorities, I think specifically like Black people or other minorities that he says are not clean. And he's used that same, well, I think even Biden used that phrase to refer at one point to Obama, saying that he is clean. And by saying that in itself is kind of a racist thing to say, right? So it's the racism is there. I for a long time didn't believe that Trump was like a racist, but it's just blatant. It's right out in the open now, and he doesn't even really try to hide it that much. He still uses the code words, but it's there, and it's disgusting, and I'm appalled by it, honestly. Anyway, that just a little sidebar in passing, as we mentioned that.
Yeah, no, the clean argument was used if actually we did on the chat get into that the other day because you mentioned that, and basically it was used also during the World War II against the Jews as they are uncleaned.
Yes,
So,
and they've even used it at times to describe even poor people or people of other religions. I mean, it's a common trope, right?
Yeah. The bourgeois was calling poor people this way.
Yeah. You're not
to dehumanize
clean.
them.
The dirty Jews is what they would say, right? As a terrible thing to say about somebody, dirty this or whatever. And it's that language is filthy, is really in the end is what it comes down to. And I'm not into the hyper progressive wokeism either, but at the same time, there are hurtful words and words that are really designed politically to dehumanize people, so that in the minds of those who follow, and you just heard Sean Strickland talking about going to a MAGA rally and talking about it being something of a cult. It absolutely has become that for some people. And I see it even here with some of the people who have been attacking me, leaving me voicemail messages, who are getting triggered by just some of the politics surrounding this and not even interpreting what's being said properly, but calling me up and just leaves me the nastiest messages. Maybe I'll share some of that with you in the nights ahead. But you say one thing and they get triggered and they think that they're awake, and they're not. Their brains are programmed like Pavlov's dog to respond to a dog whistle or a bell. You ring that bell, they salivate, and then they go crazy, and don't
Yeah.
think at all for themselves.
You know, it reminds me of something. People should probably go watch back the movie. I'm trying to remember. Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
This movie was amazing. And it tells you how propaganda really turns up your mind. And basically, like you said, the Pavlov whistle dog. So
Actually, I think Clockwork Orange came across with a message that was more akin to, it was more relevant to its time, I think, in the 70s and the 80s and even in the 90s, where people were, and I think Trump kind of does this too. It's like it was showing how terrible people who commit awful, horrific crimes, even rape, can then reinvent themselves and sanitize themselves by portraying themselves as a martyr, as a victim of society, a product of society, and therefore create an excuse for their behavior, and then you abuse the system so that they then get let off lightly by the justice system and end up back out into society, forgiven and rehabilitated, when in reality it's all a scam. It's just like BS. Oh, I committed the crime because I'm a victim, right? And you see,
yeah,
even
well,
Trump
he was
kind of logic.
It was the system
Yeah.
who reinvented him. Because if you remember the movie, two of his friends, which whom he was making, all bad behaviors, became cops. And at some point in time in the movie, finds the main character and beat him up so bad that it's like normally you wouldn't have cops beat you up this bad. Normally, they would just cuff you up.
No, I don't know. I've been seeing it on the streets like of late too. It's a very concerning
of late,
thing.
it's becoming more of a clockwork orange kind of scenario that we're seeing on street nowadays.
Yeah, you know
mostly
what?
in the U.S. with ICE.
Ian, I had a video clip from Portland queued up. I didn't run it tonight, but it's a video of Trump enforcers going out and beating the crap out of anti-ICE protesters that are being at least described as Antifa. Either way, it's pretty clear to me that what you've got going on in the streets is a political war with a government-supported, sanctioned now, Trump-backed militia, right, going out into these communities and going to war on the streets with protesters on the other side who are backed by other political forces, and they're just meeting head on and clashing, going toe to toe. But it's the two political sides, and it's just manifesting itself in the physical fight right there. But if you dig into it and you look at what's really behind it, it's MAGA on this side, and it's the Democrat social progressives, the democratic socialists on the other side, that the MAGA side would say they're a bunch of communists. So they're fighting the fascists and the communists in the streets. And that's the way that it is. And while I was always saying that the Antifa people are really the fascists, it's because they're both authoritarians. They're all extremists, and they're just fighting in the streets. And I don't want any part of it. Just leave me the hell out of that. But it's affecting our politics, our lives, our society, our culture, everything, right up to the stuff that we're talking about tonight, and clavicular, and it all comes full circle.
Yeah, but what I would say is that for a country where they're supposed to be so civilized, you have that kind of, I don't know, I'm doing some research about the 18th centuries and 19th centuries, like basically the first years of America until the Civil War, and it's kind of pretty much the same thing. I would say even probably akin to the 1920s.
let's again kind of pull the conversation back here because I want to kind of take this in a specific direction tonight. And that's because, see if I can find this for you. There we go. This is a new tenant at my home. I call this guy's name is Gus. This is a spider. He moved in. He's taken up residence by my back door. It happened about 2 weeks ago. And I don't know if you can see that, but he's a great big giant spider. Now, I think it's a Gus. I've named him Gus. I've decided it's a him. I haven't checked in between the 8 legs to determine for sure what the gender is, or the sex, whatever you want to, whichever way you want to go on that. I've decided it's Gus, but maybe that's a big egg sack on the back. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Point is, Gus is ugly. Spiders creep me out, but there Gus sits at my back door, and I can't bring, as much as he's ugly, he's an ugly old cuss, I can't bring myself to kill him. I just can't do it. So I've been letting him hang out there. He sits there in his web, does his own thing, Ian, and he just swings back and forth in the breeze, catching bugs and eating, sucking the blood out of them while they're still alive, just like the guy getting married. Caught in the web in the fly. And I can't bring myself to kill Gus. So I've just been letting Gus exist there. And so at first I thought, well, this is not a big deal. It's really nothing, but it's really everything. Because last night I got up about 4 a.m. and I went out and I let Cosmo into the backyard there to just kind of run around a bit in the middle of the night, like I do at that time. He didn't pay any mind to Gus, but I opened that door and there's Gus smack dab in my face. There's that old ugly cuss there again. And during the day, he hides up in the lamp, which you can't see. It's just up a little higher there. Crawls up into a lamp and hides from the sunlight. At night, he comes right out there and he catches the moths and the flies, and he catches the skeeters because he's a skeeter eater. And I was like, okay, dude, you can hang out there, but I'll tell you this. If you come in my house, the rules of engagement change because that's sovereign territory, baby. Right? You're not coming in my house. If he comes in my house, I'll tell you right now, I will hunt him down and I will kill him. Okay? As much as I've taken a bit of a liking to him, he better not come in my house or he's a dead spider. How do you feel about that?
I feel that you're in your right. And I do the same, actually, to a certain degree. But I'll be honest with you. Mm-hmm. There's one or two, actually, in my house in the corner that I leave alone where they are because, why not? And, I mean, look, I always come out of my door, let it open, smoke some cigarette around there or take a coffee and whatnot and just relax. And there's a fly who comes in, and sometimes I swap the fly and pick up the fly and put it into the web for the spider to take. It's like a quiproquo. So we have, and I like spider, to be quite honest. So I don't like to kill them personally.
So I shared this overnight with somebody, and I never thought much about it. And I wrote a little note with it. Maybe I can find the note and I can read it to you. I said, here's what I wrote. I said, there is a gigantic spider with a huge web outside my rear door. He moved in 2 weeks ago. His name is Gus. Gus creeps me out. Gus is very ugly. Gus is a creepy crawler. Gus sucks the blood out of living flies, moths, and skeeters. I do not think Gus is evil. He is just hungry. I am afraid Gus might get into the house. I can't bring myself to kill Gus. No crime, no punishment. Gus is simply doing his job, being a spider. He's just ugly. To me, I will leave Gus alone.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's like, but then, and then, I got some response back, and then it was starting to trigger, deeper thinking about all of this. And is there deeper meaning in what I wrote? And at first I thought, well, no, but then I thought, yes, this is sort of a nothing thing at first. But then as I'm looking at Gus, I'm looking at what Gus represents. Gus is actually everything. Gus, of course, if I write something like that and send it to somebody, they're going to start to think of it in much deeper terms, like what's the message in all this. I mean, for me, it was just at the time, it's 4:00 in the morning. Here's a spider outside my door. I feel kind of creeped out by him, but I've kind of taken a shine to him, right? But no, if you look, like, there's so many stories and fables involving spiders that, of course, people start to think about what's the meaning behind this spider story that Rick just wrote me about. And then I thought, well, yeah, there are all these stories, and you could start to overlay a lot of different meanings onto this thing. You ever see Charlotte's Web?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, it's I think E.B. White wrote it, and then they made a cartoon movie out of it, I think in the 70s. I've spoken about it before, and they showed it to us in school when we were kids. And Charlotte is this really intelligent spider who spins up a web and becomes a celebrity because Charlotte can actually spell words in her web. And then by the end of the film, Charlotte dies. And then all the kids, and we watched it in the auditorium at school one year when I was really young, and all the kids were crying because Charlotte died. The spider died, and they'd personified this spider, turned Charlotte into like a humanized character. So we all cared so deeply about Charlotte by the end of the film. But even though Charlotte died, at the end of the story, Charlotte didn't tell anybody, but she laid all these eggs, and then, or whatever, and then all these baby spiders hatched after, right? Do spiders lay a lot of eggs? No, they kind of like lay like I don't know, I'm not a spider expert, but all the spiders hatched or whatever and were born. And then you had a whole, like, all these new spiders. And then at the very end, Charlotte had befriended this pig. I think the pig's name was Wilbur, and Wilbur at the end was joyful because one of the spiders stayed behind and started spinning a new web. And so it was a whole new chapter, or a whole new book, a whole new life for a whole new spider to keep Wilbur company. And so everybody was happy at the end, but still crying. So there's the Charlotte's Web story. And then I started to think of all these other stories involving spiders, and poems, and like Little Miss Tuffet sat on a tuffet, eating her curds and whey. Along came a spider and sat down beside her and frightened Miss Muffet away. What do you think that means?
Good question. You know what? I'll leave it to you.
I don't think it means much of anything. It's just a rhyme, and kids like it. I think that one goes all the way back to like the 1800s. And I don't think it really means much of anything. It's just one of those children's nursery rhymes that has been with us for generation upon generation upon generation. It's fun. It creeps kids out a little bit, but they also find it fun, and they laugh because it's like they get scared a little bit, right? But when you start thinking about all these other spider stories that we've had through time, some of them are actually pretty damn scary. And they also have morals, lessons to be taught through a lot of these stories, over time. Can you think of any others off the top of your head?
Actually, I'm a mythologic guy, right? And there's this legend or myth about Arachne in the Greek mythology, which basically it's the weaver of Athena, if I do remember well. And she transformed at some point into a spider. there's a cautionary tale about it, about actually the hubris of the dive-in origins about weaving. So that's weird because it ties down probably to politics today. And there's also, I think, there's one I did research for you in the Utu. Utu actually is a Sumerian name for a deities, which is it's about creation, fertility, and fate. So basically, she weaves the webs of your fate. The same way that in the Greek mythology, you got the moire, which are the three ladies with the golden thread of your life and destiny.
Well, now you've really touched on the heart of the matter, right? Because as I was sitting there looking at Gus overnight, and then I took the picture to share with everyone tonight, that's really it. Like, does Gus have agency? Does Gus have free will? I could have killed Gus, right? And so if you look at the whole scenario around Gus, you can start to overlay or equate that to what's going on even between Canada and the United States, Trump and Canada, Trump and Carney. Trump saying that Canada isn't even a real country. Canada wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the United States. We couldn't survive without the United States. Gus doesn't know this, but his fate was in my hands. I could easily kill Gus, but I chose not to. So does he really have agency? Does he really have free will? Gus, on the other hand, could have spun his web or her web anywhere, but Gus chose to spin it there. Because why? Gus instinctively knew, or maybe intelligently knew, that this was the place to spin the web because it's near a light. And it's also not far away. There's some recycling bins. And so, of course, that, tracks sometimes insects, right? And so that is a prime place to sort of catch prey to eat. And as you can see, Gus is very well fed, kind of like Donald Trump. A big fat old dude hanging out on a web, swinging back and forth and sucking the lifeblood out of anything that comes near it. And so but I don't think Gus is evil. And yet, if you sucked the blood out of a living creature, I would say maybe you're evil. But that's because that's not in your nature. Gus, on the other hand, is a spider. That's what spiders do. So you can't really blame the spider for doing it. But if the spider does that, does that make the spider evil? I would say no. But if the spider has to do that, then how much free will does the spider really have? Is the spider really just a product of instinct and whatever it was that created the spider, whatever greater force, and clearly there's some greater thing going on that creates all of us, organizes molecules and energy into what we are. You have this spider that exists as part of a larger ecosystem that must exist. We need the spiders, and it's a good thing I didn't kill him because he's killing the bugs that would otherwise be flying around in my house driving me crazy. Right?
Exactly.
And overrunning our society. So Gus serves a purpose. But is that Gus's only purpose? And does Gus actually have any choice then to turn left or turn right? Did Gus really make the choice to spin the web by the back door? Or was that a predetermined fate that brought Gus there and brought me to Gus tonight? And if that's just him acting on instinct, then maybe he's not thinking for himself. Maybe Gus is just doing what Gus has to do because it's predetermined. Maybe there is no such thing as agency. Maybe I don't have a choice. Maybe I didn't have a choice either. Maybe I didn't kill Gus because it was predetermined that I wouldn't. On the other hand, maybe I do. Maybe I could go kill him right now. I could make the decision. Gus could run away right now. Gus could decide to move someplace else, but he chooses not to because he's taking his chances. You see, these are large questions. What do you think, Ian?
Me, I think that it's probably a spider instinct to go where he was. So, yeah, does he have the choice? I think he primarily went through, I would say, strategic point, say, but that's human nature versus animal or insect nature.
So
Actually,
does
you know,
Gus have agency? Does Gus have free will? Does Gus make choices? Like we make a conscious choice to turn left or turn right? Or is Gus just following?
actually, I think they do. Because, for example, some spiders won't, even if they catch something in their web that is too big or too small for them to feed them, they won't do anything to them, or they will just leave it there. And they will be more attracted to something that would be more into their diet. So basically, that's a choice. But for example, we do have the choice to mate with whoever we want. But the thing is that it's the human nature to mate and to reproduce. So in a way, when does your body choose to procreate? When you make love to your beloved and she become pregnant, when does your body choose to impregnate her at that point in time, when it's not the other time around?
What did you just say?
right?
When does your buddy decide to impregnate your woman? What are you talking about? What?
What I'm saying is that human nature or instinct?
To have your, I'm afraid to say it again. What the hell are you talking about?
What I'm saying is that, okay, for example, we have the choice to mate the same way that a spider have the choice to eat or not eat a bug that they catch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, human nature and animal nature is two different things.
Okay.
So what about the human nature? Where is the human nature can be beautiful at the same time and being chaotic, and also probably ugly and at the same.
So are you saying that human beings have choice and free will, but animals, creatures like Gus do not?
I think we all have a certain free will, but at the same time, we're at the whim of the universe and the chaos. So there's some predetermination in certain things.
Of course, because we're influenced and we respond to our environment, the things around us, right? Whereas other,
But
some people believe
the same
that
way that the biology of one person that would mate with a woman, how do you know that this person going to be the one? How do you know that this person is going to be the mother? Or, I mean, I can have multiple, girlfriend, and I don't know who's going to be the mother of the next one. I mean, it's biologic.
And you see, Ian,
at the same time,
just having you speak like this just proves what I've been saying for the past 24 hours, which is, no, I am not the ladies' man. It is definitely you. Okay. So I am just telling you that, as much as some people in the chat were going on about me being a ladies' man, I'm like, well, I'm an old married dude with a dog, and I don't know if I really qualify as a ladies' man, right? In the new manosphere of clavicular and the Tate Bros, and now, of course, the sexiest maverick alive, Ian the Rising Dragon. Because, man, you are the one with the rising dragon, and no wonder the ladies are lined up around the block, not to mention your French accent. I mean, that just has them swooning. There's no way for me to compete. Not that I even want to. It's not even a competition. It's just, there's no question. You are the sexiest maverick alive. The crown must just by default go to you.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying.
That's such an honor. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. It's such an honor.
Not that I ever had the crown. I mean, just so many manly men out there, especially, wearing their capris and going without socks, showing off their pecs. Just, oh my God. And here I am. Well, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, the other things I just went through So many. There's the oh, what a tangled web we weave, right? That whole thing. That's from Marmion, A Tale of Flood and Field. And that's a tale of deception, right? And so again, like there's another piece of literature which, as soon as I'm writing something about a spider, I can see why somebody might go, "Oh my God, what's the real message here? What's being referenced?" It could be that. It could be the 1958 The Fly, or there's this other one. You know, the "Come into my parlor," said the spider to the fly. Do you know that one?
Yeah, I heard that one
by Mary
a
Howard
long time ago, but
yeah,
my memory is not that quite good.
Yeah, again, that goes all the way back to like the early 1800s. Now, you know what? I've got somebody else I need to bring into this conversation. So with that being said, let's take a short break. We're going to come back and they're going to wrap this thing up in a pretty spectacular way, I think. So don't go away. We shall return. The best is yet to come.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, are you there?
Yep.
All right. So let me do this. Gonna make a phone call. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Always.
Okay. We need to bring somebody special in here. Let me see. Right there. There's the number I need. Let's do the dial.
Hello.
Sandy Sunshine.
Sandy Sunshine here.
Okay. So I warned you I was going to call you. And here you are, live on the air. And Ian, the rising dragon, is here with us as well.
Dragon.
So Sandy Sunshine, I need to talk to you because you sent me a link today, which sort of ties into this whole thing about this spider, which I'm sure you've been watching, and so you know what I'm talking about, right, Gus? So you still there?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you know all about Gus, right? Hanging out at my back door.
How you doing, Gus?
He's doing okay. He's doing better than probably most of us because he's well fed and just lounging.
Taxes, hon. I hope you're paying your taxes, hon.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, his rent. I'm gonna have to charge him rent.
Next thing he'll be bringing wife and kids in.
Yeah, well, he's. I think he's ready for a mate, maybe. I don't know how all that works, but yeah, I'm assuming that Gus is a guy. In any event, you sent me a video today, which I thought was kind of ironic in a way. You sent me the remarkable way that butterflies mate.
Right.
Right. Why did you send me that?
Well, I saw one yesterday.
Okay. Any particular kind?
Inside. Yeah, it was beautiful. It was nice, and it's actually butterfly season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's why I sent it. And I went on YouTube today, and just by fluke, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna work butterflies.
Uh-huh.
I gorked it.
You
and
gorked it? You mean grokked it?
Grokked it. I grokked it, or might be
Gork,
tomorrow.
whatever. Same damn thing. Gorking,
Yeah.
grokking, gorking, same goddamn thing. Doesn't matter.
So I started reading about them, and they mate for life.
Yeah, and there's they don't live very long though. Butterflies.
No, they don't, and they always know who their mate is, because how is that happening? Because they all look alike.
What do you mean they all look alike?
Well, monarch butterflies, they look the same.
Yeah, I suppose they do. The markings are kind of all the same, right?
Yeah, but they're beautiful.
Oh, they are. Yes.
They're a beautiful creature.
Yeah. What do you know? What the difference is between a moth and a butterfly?
I have no clue.
Well, one is a moth and the other is a butterfly.
Yeah.
That's what I know. And the moths are, I don't know. There is a difference, I think, but butterflies are pretty and moths are plain. And I'm not an expert, so I can't really tell you. But in any case, so the fact that you were sending me something about butterflies mating brought me to the thing, that this idea that, that this whole "come into my parlor," said the spider to the fly.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with that?
No.
You're not?
No, I don't know where that came from.
This is The Spider and the Fly by Mary Howitt. It was written back in like the 1800s, 1820s, late 1820s.
I'll look out for it.
Okay, well, I've got a copy of it here, and I wanted to read it to you because we're talking about Gus, and of course we're talking about the sexiest maverick alive.
The sexiest mavericks that are out there, and Clavicular and the Tate brothers and all those dudes that are manly.
Now, were you engaging in the chat the other night talking about, who's who in the world of ladies' men?
I don't know who started that. I don't think it was me, and I apologize if it was.
Apology accepted, but it's okay.
No, I don't know, but you're already content with what you have and who loves you.
Oh my goodness, yeah, just
you're a content man.
Sounds like trouble to me, I'll tell you that. So yeah, Ian Brown, would you agree with me that Ian is like the sexiest maverick alive?
He's a golden dragon.
Oh my God. Oh.
The voice, everything, he's special.
Wow, my.
Yeah.
You're a smooth talker, aren't you?
I try.
Smooth operator.
I had a feeling that maybe there might be a little chemistry on the line tonight if I got the two of you together. There we go. We're percolating now. And there's Gus setting the mood, and you were talking about butterflies mating. Oh my goodness, this is like the dating game.
Well, it is summer. It's summertime.
Yeah, well, it's beyond spring, and now it's hot, baby. It's getting hot. Which brings me to the
hot that I'm gonna take off my shirt.
Cool.
No, I'm joking.
Trump talks about. No. Sorry, go ahead, Ian.
I just wanted to say, we got to be careful because, there's kids at home, so I don't want to make a mess.
well, let's just swing on over then to the poem, shall we? The Spider and the Fly. And you're telling me you guys haven't heard this before?
No.
Oh, I thought everybody.
And I should have.
Everybody. I bet you have heard it when I read this to you.
Maybe when I was little, I heard of it, but a long time ago.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Oh, also in a little bit, I'm going to run a really special video clip, and I can't run it in the system. So you're going to have to watch it off the screen of your computer or whatever. Okay. When we do that, so you can hear what it's about.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I've got something real special at the end for both of you guys. So
and I have a little tidbit poem, so you're going to like it.
Oh, do you? I'll tell you what, why don't you read yours first?
Okay. The itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the itsy bitsy spider came out the spout again.
Rock and roll. Yeah.
Rock the web.
Okay, are you ready for the spider and the fly? This is way better than Trump's the snake, which is, why did you let me in? But this is kind of in the same vein in a way. And I hate to use the word vein since spiders suck the blood out of people, but not out of people. I guess they do.
Well, you know what, Rick? Spiders, they're not all bad.
Right. Misunderstood. Like Godzilla. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. They're not bad. They're not evil, are they?
No.
No.
They're here for a reason.
That's right. It just
Spiders
shows you.
are more afraid of you than you are afraid of them.
That's right, Sandy. They're just one of God's creatures.
Yep.
Yeah, it just shows that we have to make room for everybody, everything, every creature.
Well, if I have one in my apartment, I jump 10 feet in the air and I'm like, what? I'm like you, my friend. What? Yeah. Don't you come in my house?
That's right. And if and again, this whole thing illustrates the power dynamics of nature, right? Where it seems like sometimes someone or something or some country even is the most powerful, when in reality, we all kind of need each other, right? In the end, we all need each other. And Trump can say, I don't need Mexico and I don't need Canada. We don't need anybody. I don't need anybody. It's like a petulant child. And there's no wisdom in that.
His behavior is childish. He's like a little kid.
Yeah, we need each other. Canada needs the US. The US needs Canada. All the countries need all the other countries.
We don't need Canada. They need us more than we. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Let me read the poem.
Okay.
Okay, this is the spider and the fly. Will you walk into my parlor? Said the spider to the fly. 'Tis the prettiest little parlor that you ever did spy. The way into my parlor is up a winding stair, and I've a many curious things to shew you when you are there. Oh, no, no, said the little fly. To ask me is in vain, for who goes up your winding stair can ne'er come down again. I'm sure you must be weary, dear, with soaring up so high. Will you rest upon my little bed? Said the spider to the fly. There are pretty curtains drawn around. The sheets are fine and thin. And if you like to rest a while, I'll snugly tuck you in. Oh, no, no, said the little fly, for I have often heard it said, they never, never wake again who sleep upon your bed. Said the cunning spider to the fly, dear friend, what can I do to prove the warm affection I've always felt for you? I have within my pantry good store of all that's nice. I'm sure you're very welcome. Will you please to take a slice? Oh, no, no, said the little fly. Kind sir, that cannot be. I've heard what's in your pantry, and I do not wish to see. Sweet creature, said the spider, you're witty and you're wise. How handsome are your gauzy wings. How brilliant are your eyes. I have a little looking glass upon my parlor shelf. If you'll step in one moment, dear, you shall behold yourself. Oh, I thank you, gentle sir, she said, for what you're pleased to say, and bidding you good morning now, I'll call another day. The spider turned him round about and went into his den, for well he knew the silly fly would soon come back again. So he wove a subtle web and a little corner sly, and set his table ready to dine upon the fly. Then he came out to his door again, and merrily did sing, Come hither, hither, pretty fly, with the pearl and silver wing. Your robes are green and purple. There's a crest upon your head. Your eyes are like the diamond bright, but mine are dull as lead. Alas, alas, how very soon this silly little fly, hearing this wily flattering words, came slowly flitting by. With buzzing wings she hung aloft, then near and nearer drew, thinking only of her brilliant eyes and green and purple hue, thinking only of her crested head. Poor foolish thing. At last, up jumped the cunning spider and fiercely held her fast. He dragged her up his winding stair into his dismal den within his little parlor, but she ne'er came out again. And now, dear little children, who may this story read, to idle, silly flattering words, I pray you ne'er give heed unto an evil counselor. Close heart and ear to eye, and take a lesson from this tale of the spider and the fly. What did you learn?
What did I learn?
Yeah, anybody learn anything?
It's beautiful.
It's scary as hell.
And do not get
Gave me the
intimate.
willies.
It's a question of
Well,
not get.
I think it says something about trust.
Yes, Sandy, you're on it. That's right.
Actually, I was about
not
manipulation, mostly manipulation.
Yes, manipulation. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
It's about flattery.
Beautiful word.
Mm-hmm. Using flattery to deceive and manipulate.
He used charm to get her.
Yeah.
He did everything in his power to he wined and dined her to get her.
Yeah.
And look what happened.
Yeah. Ne'er came out again.
Yep.
Yep. Got it. Et. She got et.
Did the fly win?
No, the fly got et.
The fly got.
The spider ate the fly by flattering the fly, telling the fly that she had beautiful wings and bright eyes, and then appealed to the fly's vanity. Would you like to come in? Look, I have a looking glass. You can look at yourself and see how beautiful you are.
A vanity mirror.
Yes. And so by appealing to the vanity of the fly, he was able to manipulate her.
So you'll like this. When the fly looked into the mirror, what did the fly see? A snake.
Oh, no. Well, yeah, I guess in a way,
Well,
a snake wrapped up in spider's clothing. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Why did you bite me? Because you let me in. That's why.
Snakes carry venom.
Yeah. In this case, why did you bite me? Because I deceived you and brought you in, and now I'm going to bite you and bite you and bite you and eat you up, and you're not going to. I'm going to suck all your blood out, fly.
And then, at the end of the day, the fly wins.
No, at the end of the day, the fly is freaking dead.
Or dead.
That's the point, Sandy. That's the point.
That's the point.
She tucked him in a bed of rose.
There you go. Absolutely, Rick.
Yeah. And
remember,
so
she tucked him in the bed of rose.
We need to be careful as a country who we trust. We've trusted, I think, put too much trust in our best friend to the south, who right now isn't our best friend because somebody else is taking control down there, and they're clearly not friendly. And
Can I point?
Yeah.
So the United States are still our neighbors,
yes.
But we don't have to like Trump.
Right.
That's how I use it.
Yeah.
And that's how I see it. We don't have to like the dude, but they're still our neighbors, and God only knows what's going on over there now.
Yes, well, hopefully we come through this all in one piece, and our morality and our ethics is still intact, and we don't sell out. So many issues in play here, but the power dynamic is such that
sometimes on your program you say the best thing at the end. God help us all.
Yes, that's for sure, Sandy. God help us all, but we can't just rely on God. In my opinion, we have to take matters into our own hands, make our own decisions, take personal responsibility, and try to do the right things and use our superpowers for good, never for evil.
Yeah.
Right.
Be intelligent with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can make it. Do you think that Gus has free will and agency, Sandy?
I think he has a chance.
Yeah, I suppose so.
If he misbehaves, then if he gets in your house, well, you got to do what you got to do.
Of course, how much agency does he really have, or free will, when he's completely unaware of the power that I have? Or is Gus unaware?
Yeah.
He runs away when I come too close. So instinctively he knows to get away from me. Or maybe it's more than instinct. Maybe it is a choice. If Gus was depressed and suicidal, he might say, go ahead, just do it. Just crush me. Squash me. But I don't know. I wonder if spiders get depressed.
Yeah, I wonder if they have emotions.
They have feelings, certainly physical feelings. They can sense temperature and flames and things like that. They run away from fire.
Oh, they hate fire.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But in any event, this this brings me to the next stage in all this. I was thinking, in addition to those poems, a lot of pop culture out there surrounding spiders, and specifically, like this is a Nickelodeon. This one's, I think, it was called The Spider. What did they call this one? I wasn't even aware of this. I found this just in passing today. This one's called, I think it's just called The Spider and the Fly. It was some weird claymation thing that, so I got a still shot of that to show you. Nickelodeon. And then.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
The Rolling Stones have a song called The Spider and the Fly. It's an old one, not one of their better known tunes.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that one?
No.
Oh, well, it's out there.
It did a long time ago, but it's been a while I played the Stones.
Yeah, and that's from an album called Out of Our Heads, I guess. And then what else do we have? I guess that kind of gets me to the end of that slide.
I can give you one.
Richard would have made a great president.
I can give you one song, actually.
A musician as a president.
From System of a Down, Spider. Pretty intense, I would say, lyrics and telling in a way.
I'm still here.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still here. I'm just listening to Ian speak.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
So yeah, System of a Down. It's a good song, Spider. The lyrics are pretty telling, I would say.
So then I was thinking, we couldn't have this conversation tonight without acknowledging Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Spider-Man. See, in the Ultimate Spider-Man.
Does whatever a spider can.
The 60s Spider-Man. That's right.
I used to watch them.
Yeah.
Actually, the old cartoon from the 70s.
The old cartoon.
Yes, yeah, the 60s cartoons. Well, I have sort of an inside scoop on that whole Spider-Man series from the 60s, which I think is the ultimate Spider-Man, right? Do you know who did the voice of Spider-Man and Peter Parker?
Ask you.
Do you have any idea, Ian, who did the voice?
No.
His name was Paul Soles.
Oh.
And Paul Soles, here's some fun facts and trivia for you. Paul Soles worked at the same TV station that I worked at. Now, I didn't work there when Paul Soles was there. He went to the University of Western Ontario in London, here in Ontario, and he dropped out. And when he dropped out, when he was a young man, he went to work at CFPL Radio and then later at the television station there. And he also had a career in theater, he was fairly successful. He also was very fortunate and managed to get a gig as the voice of Peter Parker and Spider-Man in that 1960s.
Wow.
So he was a voiceover
series, right? Which is it's the iconic, it's the best by far Spider-Man series out there, in my humble opinion. And so I've always, I never met him, but I bring it up tonight just because all of this stuff about spiders came up. And I think it's pretty cool. I always thought it was really cool that I got to work at the same television station at one point as Paul Soles did. What an honor.
That's nice.
Small world.
Nice.
So what I did is I looked up some stuff with Paul Soles. He died a few years back. He lived to the age of 90. And he was was doing comic conventions right up until his later years. Yeah. And he was interviewed by a gentleman by the name of Nick Moretti with the Comics, Beer, and Sci-Fi channel on YouTube. So I pulled a little clip from that, and you guys can look that up online if you would like to watch the full interview with Paul Soles, the voice of Spider-Man. And this is the clip that I'm going to run now. So if you want to watch this with me, guys, you have to watch it on your screen, on your computer, turn your audio up a little bit in order to participate in this aspect of it, because the audio won't pump through for you to hear it or see it. But I'm going to play this for the audience and the rest of our Maverick family. So I'll just a very short clip of Paul Soles, little trivia, and I don't know, point of personal pride for me, just because he's a really cool guy, and I get the honor of saying I got to work at the same station as he did at one point. Here he is, Paul Soles.
And I think a lot of people kind of looked at Stan Lee when he created it and said, what? You've got a superhero who was wearing a full costume. He's not very good getting it on with the girls, and he's a scientist and teenager. I mean, this is not a superhero. Well, Lee persisted, of course, and the rest is legend.
Now, as I said at the top of the interview, I'm extremely biased, but for my money, no one has ever played that character better than you. You captured Peter Parker and Spider-Man both so perfectly. How did you prepare to play the role? How did you tackle the role, if you will?
I think you're very kind, but for a person like me, not a big stud, wildly good-looking or anything, Peter Parker was a lot easier to play. An earnest guy, enjoyed taking pictures, keen to be a good employee, work for J. Jonah Jameson. To play Spidey, though, a superhero, was not that easy.
The great, legendary Paul Soles, it's been my privilege and pleasure to interview you, sir. Thank you so much.
And there you have it, Paul Soles. Now, did you hear what he said, you guys, about not being popular with the ladies? Spider-Man, he said this superhero, and Paul Soles himself said, hey, he wasn't a really terribly good-looking guy, and he wasn't really popular or successful with the ladies. But when it comes right down to it, really, he was absolutely both Spider-Man and Peter Parker and Paul Soles himself. I'd say not only were they absolutely ladies' men, they were absolutely mavericks. They were maverick men. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I do. I think you're right.
The Spider-Man uniform out and about, I'm sure the ladies would would run up to him.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, save me.
And that being said, Sandy, I think from your earlier comments, I'm getting and since this is kind of the dating game, I'm thinking that maybe am I on the right track? Am I sensing you kind of taking a bit of a shine to the rising dragon?
The dragon? I think I have a little crush on him.
Oh.
I Messenger sometimes, and I send him a little giggle, and I'll go,
do that again. That's
do it again.
Do it again.
Do it once in a while.
Use your main listen button.
Try to get him going. Or if
Do it
he's
again.
asleep,
That's so
I'll try
funny
and
when
get
she
him
does
up.
that.
Get up.
There you go, guys. I'm like, oh my God. And so I think what we have here is an exclusive story, breaking news. I think maybe do we have it? Do you guys, is there did this result in a date?
I've been wanting to meet Dragon, but you know what? Like, I would go to Montreal. I haven't been to Montreal in a very long time, but it's sketchy there.
Yeah, well,
there's a lot going on over there, Rick. There's a lot of stuff going on over there, and I've been kind of iffy about wanting to go down there.
Yes, okay. Well, I'll let you guys kind of work that out, but
oh, he's fun to hang out with, and he's really good to talk with. He's really good to chat with. I just tease him sometimes. Just what I heard today.
How does that make you feel, Ian, when she laughs like that? Does that make your dragon rise?
Oh my God. No, I find it funny though, because that comes from a conversation that we had about Beavis and Butthead, and actually
you big dragon, you.
and we do sometime, play the roles just because it's funny.
Oh well, now you're getting somewhere. So Sandy,
just a piece of work.
Yeah, just do me a favor, will you? Can you just in some way just put this whole question of who's the sexiest Maverick alive, just put it to bed for me tonight. Just put it all to rest. Please just get me out of the picture. Go ahead and in your own way crown the king, will you?
I can't say you're married. You're
exactly. That's right. Just please, just crown the king. Just go ahead.
Dragon, you gotta crown the dragon.
Oh, thank you.
Well, there's a slight.
In a way, I'm flattered. I'll be honest. It's flattering, but
the dragon. He needs a lady.
Yeah. All
he
right.
Needs a lady. He needs a good lady with him.
Well, I'm glad that I was able to hook you guys up, and you heard it here first, folks.
Been talking with Dragon. We've been chatting a long time. So he said he knows a lot about stuff and politics and psychology, and he's a smart wit.
Yeah,
he is.
I do a lot of research,
I learn a lot from him, and I learn
I'm a
a lot
curious
from you.
cat.
You know what I used to do? My dad used to shop at Tip Top Tailors.
Yeah, me too.
He used to do shop there.
Yeah.
And whenever I brought new shirts home, I would wear them.
Oh, yeah.
I wear them before he would wear them, because men's clothing are the best clothing ever than women.
Why do I get the feeling that it won't be long before you're wearing the Rising Dragons shirts?
T-shirts and hoodies.
Yeah.
Can I keep my Maverick shirt?
He should design a T-shirt for Maverick.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll get to that point
do
too.
it right in Maverick.
Well, folks, it's time to wrap this thing up because we've played the dating game. I've been the matchmaker. We've explored the existential questions surrounding Gus. We've seen what it looks like when a male human is trapped in the web of matrimony and the absolute horror that it spreads across his face, as you can see in the image on the screen right there. And we've determined unequivocally, absolutely, we have decided, we have crowned the king, the sexiest Maverick alive, Ian, and his rising dragon. So the matter tonight, folks, is settled. And with that, folks, I will leave you with our newest song from Maverick and the News Brothers, Maverick Man. See you guys tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern on the
Flip Side.
Maverick man, does the work of a real man. Holds the line in any fight, fixes the wrongs and makes them right. Look out! Here comes a Maverick man. life's noble call up. Wherever there's a foul up, you'll find the Maverick Man. Hey there, that's a real Maverick
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.